Welcome
Hey,
back to the show, Ashley,
thanks.
for record number 6.
I knew it was 5 or 6.
It was fifth last time when you came clean.
Oh,
So, just for those who haven't seen, you have a new sober date. What is the date again?
October 16th. So I actually just had 90 days the other day.
Congrats on 90 days.
Thank you.
Mine is a month later, November 16th.
Yeah, that's crazy. An exact month, huh?
Like, if we're not mirroring up our recovery, then it's not working. Like, we have the same recovery every time we talk.
That's so strange.
I know. And now my my slip up was with Ativan. I had a script of Ativan and I took like 10 of them one night. So as opposed to my prescribed of one a night.
Yeah.
So now I take it as a PRN. So like my wife has it locked up and I say I need an Ativan and she'll say why and then we'll have a conversation. And sometimes she'll be like, "What did you try doing this? Did you try doing that?" And we try to do different coping things before I actually take an Ativan.
That's cool.
And the other way it helps me is I have like crazy high blood pressure sometimes,
Yeah.
and I take like a blood pressure medication plus an Ativan, and that helps bring my blood pressure down.
Yeah.
Like last night, we got into bed like it wasn't like I had a stressful day. I've been on a staycation all week. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have anything stressful, no stressors, and my blood pressure was 189 over 85. It's supposed to be 120 over 80. Like, and my shit was at 189 on the top number. My pulse was like 120 beats per minute as opposed to 90. I was
That's
just,
crazy.
and all I did was just get in the bed.
Yeah.
And what happens is in my ear, I start hearing like my heartbeat. It's almost like a bump bump, but it's just in my eardrum.
Yeah.
And that's always my sign to check my blood pressure because whenever that gets out of whack, my blood pressure is always high. So I'm glad that I have like a telltale sign now of like when that shit happens.
Yeah.
And how long was your relapse for? How long did you last out there before you got clean again?
I don't even I don't even really know because I dabbled like here and there and then didn't, you know what I mean? Like did that dance where I do it and then not do it and then do it and not do it. So I don't even really know. I was doing like I started out with pain pills and then naturally they got too expensive and I found the next best thing and started doing slow fentanyl. So I was on fentanyl for probably like 3 months.
And you were testing it too before you would even do it?
Yeah.
And just almost to test it to make sure you were buying fentanyl or know how much to use. Was it to know how much you use?
I tested it actually for fentanyl and for xylazine. Mine was more for the xylazine, which is
The trank.
uh the trank that's getting put in dope. And I've actually had dope around here that had that in it. People have tested meth that had it in it, and yeah. But I mean, I still did it when it had the xylazine in it. So
You're like, I'm not wasting $20 on a bat.
I mean, what else was I gonna do? I was gonna be sick. So yeah, I actually was just thinking of that the other day. I have a sore in my nose that you can get a sore. What xylazine will do is you'll get a sore, and it's not even necessarily where you go because it's actually my opposite nostril that I used. But you get a sore, and it takes forever and ever and ever to heal. And I've had one in there. I actually just messaged somebody about it the other day that does harm reduction. Like, dude, I think I have a xylazine sore because it does not go away, and it's right at the tip of my nose inside, and it hurts.
I find it funny we both had preferred nostrils.
Yeah. If I
For
do it up the other side, it's just wrong. It is. So
me, it was my left one.
mine's my right,
Are you left-handed or right-handed?
right-handed.
Me too. And for some reason, this just made more sense to me. My right hand would hold the nostril closed.
I mean, I don't know. I think like I remember before when I would try to do it up the other side because like I was doing pills and my nose was too stuffy, and it burned really bad if I did it up the opposite side. So I didn't like to deal with that.
Yeah, the worst part about being clogged was having to pick your nose because you weren't wasting that money.
Dude. Yeah, I've talked to people about that. Yeah. You get
It's
expensive boogers.
yeah, the most expensive boogers. That's what I'll name this episode. The one where Ashley has expensive boogers.
Yeah. Yeah. Expensive boogers.
So, are you more of an AA girl or NA girl?
AA.
Why do you think that is? Is NA kind of scarce around you live, or
Actually a lot of people do NA in Tiffin actually, like the younger people. But I had a really bad experience at an NA meeting in my hometown and then at a meeting like in a different town. The one in my town was there's a really judgy dude in there and I was still smoking weed and he was in there like just trashing, if you smoke weed, you're not sober. And then the one in the other town, this guy started out the meeting by saying, if you're on Suboxone or gabapentin, you are not sober. And I looked at my friend like, what kind of place do you got me in right now? So like AA, I mean, I found some bad meetings, where maybe they don't want you there because I'm a drug addict. And but I found better sobriety. I like the program. I've been to Founders Day. Like you find good sponsorship, and that's just where I felt the most comfortable.
do you still smoke?
Yeah,
Yeah, me too. And I'm prescribed gabapentin.
me too.
Like, like that makes no sense to me of why you're saying that at a meeting. Calm down. Like I take the 600 milligrams at night to keep my restless legs because I'm sure I don't know how you are, but when I was like withdrawing, my legs would get really restless and have the stomach pain and the restless legs. Well, my restless legs never went away.
Yeah, I have that a lot too. Like when I'm going to bed, I gotta like move my feet and stuff. But I take Seroquel too, and that helps knock me out. But I feel like that gives you restless legs for a little bit, like before you actually fall asleep.
Oh, I almost died from Seroquel. Like straight up, like my I check my vitals all the time because I have to with high blood pressure. And it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was still awake, and my blood pressure started rising, and my pulse was at like 140 beats per minute. And I had to go to the. This is before I was prescribed Ativan, so like I had to go to the ER at like 1 in the morning for them to like bring my levels down and shit. And it was like I googled it, like what happens if this happens with Seroquel, and it was like go to the ER right away, and I'm like fuck, it wasn't like it was cancer. It was like go to the ER, which is way more of an alert and an urgency than what
Yeah,
like. So I take olanzapine for my sleep.
never heard of
That
that.
it helps me. I went through Ambien. I went through Seroquel. I went through Trazodone. I hated how Trazodone made me feel in the morning. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've taken that. They like prescribe that first. If you have trouble sleeping, they're like, here, try Trazodone.
Well, I'm a crazy person, so the Seroquel is for to keep me more level too. Like I'm actually supposed to take Seroquel in the morning when I wake up too.
Are you bipolar also?
Yeah.
So am I. Friends. No wonder
But
I
I
get
just
wrong
get
stuff.
really wiry. Like I just get go go. But like I'll sleep and it'll last for like a little bit, but then I'll just get back down where I'm just chill. But then I just get up, I get manicky.
Yeah. Mine's in the mood swings, but I don't like ever lash out. In my
Yeah.
head, I'm lashing out, like how my self talk gets way worse whenever I'm being manic,
Yeah.
and that's what I have to watch. It's more of like a depression that I go into where I kind of shut
Right.
down, and I'm a talkative person, but I don't want to say a word when I'm like going through a manic depression.
I like black out when I get manicky and up. Like I my memory sucks already anyways, but when I'm go going, like I kind of feel like I black out sort of.
Yeah, I can see that. It happens a lot with a lot of people where they black out and they don't know if they're being manic or not, or they don't remember cleaning the house. Like it's that kind of shit where and I think some of it I'm OCD also.
Mm.
Like I'm definitely a dual diagnosis. I see my psych once a month, sometimes once every 2 weeks, depending on how bad thing is. That's the good thing about my psych is I can get him to come right in.
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle of Pennsylvania, but guess where he works from home out of?
Huh.
Ann Arbor. I was saying go blue to him all season.
Good.
I'm like
I
you.
like Michigan. I don't like Ohio State.
Yeah, I know that you like Michigan. I saw
Yeah.
you posting the go blue. I was very excited because I'm like, oh, cool. She's from Ohio and doesn't like Ohio State.
Yeah. I think back when like Ohio State was really good is when I was growing up and I picked Michigan to not be like, okay, they're kicking ass right now. I'm not gonna go with them. I'm gonna go with Michigan. And then that's who I
I
stuck with.
I grew up being a Notre Dame fan, and I still root for Notre Dame except when they're playing, or I root for Notre Dame. But if they're playing Michigan, I root for Notre Dame. But what happened was my brother's been a diehard Notre or Michigan fan since he was little, and then we went to a game for his birthday. I took him for his birthday, and when we went there for the game, I ended up falling in love with Michigan. So I've been rooting for them since 2016 when I took them for a game, or that was 2015. So that was almost 9. It'll be 9 years, yeah, this October. And so I've been following them and been a fan of them for the last 9 years. And so I was so pumped to see them finally win.
Yeah. It's a big difference, huh?
Is your boyfriend a Michigan fan too?
Yeah.
Because he's from Michigan, right?
Yeah.
He did that on purpose. You're like, I'm gonna find me a Michigan boy, so this way I don't have to argue over that.
He likes the Lions though, and I like the 49ers.
You would like the 49ers.
Yeah.
I've been rooting for the Lions though. They
Yeah.
they've been winning me money.
That's good. You do all that. You do the
They
sports betting.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, they won me like $400. So I don't bet a lot of money. I bet like $10, but all the
Yeah.
bets I make pay out like three, four, $500. Like that weekend, I made like $1,200. Like it was a ridiculous weekend of sports betting.
That's so cool.
Almost paid my rent in one weekend.
Yeah.
Paid three-quarters of my rent, or because our rent's like $1,800 now. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You want to know what I pay for rent? I mean, I live in a small, like a one-bedroom apartment. What do you think I pay?
590.
No,
High,
less.
less than 590.
We were paying 350 and it got raised 30%, so it's 385. I mean, it's a small one bedroom, but it's not bad. And I mean, we pay all the utilities too. But those, I mean, those aren't like we just got the water bill. The water bill's like 20 something dollars.
Yeah, that's wild. Okay, so for 1,800, and but all the electric is included. The utilities are included, and we have three bedrooms and three full bathrooms.
Okay.
So like my office is a bedroom, like one of the three bedrooms, and I have my own bathroom to shower in, go to whatever. I have my own bathroom.
Yeah.
And we only smoke. We don't smoke in the living room anymore. We only smoke when we're in my office hanging out because I have a couch in here,
Okay.
or smoke in the bedroom if it's later at night and it's just like to smoke to try to sleep.
Yeah. At least you got somebody to smoke with. I just smoke by myself. He doesn't smoke, so
Oh, he doesn't smoke. Even
no.
Michigan's a legal state too.
He did, but he just grew out of it, I guess.
Yeah, which happens. Wait, are you I just had a question and I forgot it. What do you usually or no, is cannabis legal there or do you have a medical card?
They just whenever we voted November, they passed it in Ohio for recreational and such, but it'll take them forever to get dispensed. Like we just started getting like our medical dispensaries.
Is there one
Um,
close to you?
what's that?
Is there one close to you?
There is one in Tiffin, and I haven't been in that. I've been up to Michigan.
Yeah, in Michigan it's recreational.
Yeah. Michigan's super cool. There's so many up there that you could throw a rock in any direction and you're gonna hit a dispensary for real.
So they've been recreational for a minute.
Yeah,
So,
and it'll take Ohio forever to get to where they're at.
yeah, I know it just passed in New Jersey a couple years ago, and they're just now getting more dispensaries opened up, and it's been a couple years.
Yeah, like
And
we voted in November and well, after it passed, our governor tried adding like a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't on there. It wasn't what we voted for. But I guess that didn't end up going through, but I'm sure they're just going to drag their feet on getting everything together.
which is dumb because they can make a ton of money in tax revenue.
Oh yeah.
Like for those who don't know, um, people that have a medical card don't pay taxes when they go to the dispensary. But people that are buying these are in the recreational states. If you have a medical card, you don't pay taxes. People of recreational sometimes are limited on what they can buy or how much they can buy. And because like in Jersey, you can only buy like so much before they're like, nope, you're at your limit.
Sure.
And you only can get like maybe an ounce per week, say, which is a decent amount of weed to smoke in a week.
Sure.
But I know I probably go through a half ounce a month. So all I do is smoke bowls. I don't smoke
Yeah.
like blunts or joints or anything like that. I'm that pothead that can't roll anything.
Hey, me too. I just never learned. That's what I tell. I just never learned. I mean, if we were doing that, somebody was there who knew how to do it. So I just didn't care.
I was the same way. Like somebody else was great at rolling blunts or they were great at rolling joints. They could do it like that. And I'm like, I don't know how you're doing that, sorcerer, but thank you for doing that for me.
I was a foil bowl. I was great at making a foil bowl. I could make a great airtight foil bowl. And that's what I do. Or a pop can. I mean, I just never, yeah, I never rolled.
A what pan?
A pop can.
What is that?
You've never, a pop can, soda pop.
Oh, you called soda pop. I did not know what the fuck a pop can was.
You call it soda?
I called soda.
Okay, well, yeah, soda pop can.
I was like, what is she talking about, pop can?
That's so funny.
I was so confused, but that's why I asked, because everyone has different expressions for everything. Do you have yourself a regular bowl now that you have a job?
Yeah.
Okay, you have yourself a regular. Here's mine, my little orange guy.
Mine's a Sherlock, a small Sherlock. It's in the living room.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep mine right by my side. I smoke as is. Like I get to a baseline and I don't smoke past that because then I would not be able to like function. You know what I mean? I would want to go lay down and take a nap or eat everything in the refrigerator. Like it could go either way. I could eat everything in the refrigerator and then take a nap, you know.
Yeah, I've actually slowed down my smoking. I was smoking a lot. I mean, I don't know if it was just because when I was using, but actually, like right after I got out of detox too, because I wasn't feeling right. But I would go through like an ounce in like a week and a half, and now I don't even know. I bought an ounce like a while ago, and I still have quite a bit. Like I just haven't been smoking.
I don't smoke in the bedroom. My wife smokes in bed. I can't like I don't know if it's the leaning back. I can't smoke in bed. So I don't. But if I'm in sometimes she'll come in here and we'll hang out in here. And that's when I'll smoke cuz I can smoke sitting up in a chair. But for some reason laying down in bed, it just doesn't work for me. I get annoyed. I wind up just not smoking at all. This podcast is also sponsored by BetterHelp. If you are looking for therapy and not able to get something right away locally, you can do that with them. Within 48 hours, you can find a therapist to get on telehealth with you. I mean, I haven't heard anything but great things from people that have already done it, that watch my show or listen to my show. If you're looking to get 10% off your first month, you can go to betterhelp.com/MJsPNP MCA. That is betterhelp.com/MJ's PNP So now, like I said, I'll get to a baseline and then be like, okay, now I'm ready to lay down. I'll take my meds at 8 o'clock. This way, it takes them like 3 hours to kick in.
3 hours. Mine's take that Seroquel hits me quick, boy.
40
Well, sometimes I'll be dozing off within an hour, but sometimes I think it's my legs that keep me up actually, and I'll watch TV for a little bit and then just doze off.
No, mine, it takes me a little while before it hits me. Like I'll need to be in bed before if I just take them because it's 8 o'clock, then they're not gonna work. But if I take them in bed while I'm already laying down, I'll watch TV for a couple hours and then pass out.
Sure.
And it keeps me asleep. That's the other thing it does. I don't wake up in the middle of the night from it.
Sure.
It keeps me asleep. And that was the one thing that, like, trazodone, I wake up at like 3 in the morning being like, now what? Like, you know what I mean?
That's the worst too.
What is it?
That's the worst, when you wake up and you're like up and you can't fall back asleep.
But you're groggy at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's no fun. I'm glad I finally figured out my sleep medicine like a year ago. Like, I wish I had this shit when I was in my 20s.
Sure.
Maybe I wouldn't have got addicted to pills so much.
Who knows? Or you could have just been mixing them.
Well, all my 20s I spent in addiction. So, and you're what, 20? You're not, you're 30?
32.
32. That's when I first started recovery. So,
yeah.
I lasted until I drank again after 13 months. I think that was like, it was on my 13-month anniversary that I went out and bought a 6-pack of Twisted Tea. Like the girliest drink I could buy. Like that was my I didn't buy a bottle of Jack Daniels or something like that when I went. I should have skipped right to, but in my head I was like, this is how I'm going to drink responsibly.
Sure.
And then you know how they say you have to finish all your drinks? I'd be pouring mine out in my head, lying to myself like, look, I can pour it down the sink and not care. Like that kind of thinking. Like, this is how I'm beating the system. I'm still going to stay sober. And within 9 months, I was drinking a bottle of Jack, and like in a night drinking a bottle of Jack, and then waking up going like hungover, going, what the fuck did I just do last night? Like, I didn't get sober to feel this way. I'm obviously not sober anymore. I got to make a change. And that was 4 years ago on Leap Day. And I like woke up hungover as shit, and I said to my wife, either I got to start drinking right now or we're going to quit for good. And she was like, yeah, we can quit now. So we quit on Leap Day, and then like everything shut down like 2 weeks later for COVID. So I said to her, like, we got to really buckle down now. We can't like go to meetings or anything like that. We got to really just like stick it out and deal with it. And we didn't go through bad. It's not like we really withdrew a lot. And so I think that helped, is that like we weren't drinking every day. So we didn't have to go through the withdrawals. It was more of the mental withdrawal as opposed to physical. It was more like the mental dependency. And it was all just trying to get buzzed. You know what I mean? And then you wound up drunk. Then I wound up hungover. And it was just like, fuck, man. Like, I do not want to be feeling this way right now.
No. That's exactly what I thought when I was in detox this last time. Like, dude, I cannot believe I'm doing this again. I feel like shit again.
That was your third time in detox, right?
Fourth.
Fourth?
Yeah.
I know that you were in detox like from when you were really bad.
Yeah, that time I detoxed at home. My worst time ever. My first time was the worst time. I did it at home. I did not realize how bad that it was gonna be, and I
You
was sick
almost
at
died,
home.
right?
Yeah, yeah. From like just being so sick, having nothing in me. My muscles shut down, like my hands were cramped. That's when my mom was like, I'm taking you to the emergency room. And I didn't even know what I was like, they're not going to do anything. I'm a junkie. They're going to give me fluids and send me home. Well, I mean, from I guess potassium is super important and you lose a lot of it when you're sick like that and it affects your heart rate. So I don't know what these levels mean, but if you get below 2.5, like you could die. And I was 2.2 when I got to the hospital, and I was immediately placed on a heart monitor. I was so dehydrated they couldn't even give me an IV. I had to get one in between my knuckles so they could hydrate me enough to give me an IV, like a real one. And then I was in the hospital for 3 days.
How were you treated because of being there as a junkie?
I got treated like a junkie. Until my last day there, I got a nurse that actually knew about addiction, and like obviously I hadn't ate anything, and she brought me in like plain toast, a banana, it was a brat diet, and some rice, everything super bland. And I took a couple bites, and she actually is the one that got the doctor to even give me Imodium. They were refusing me Imodium. Yeah, so I finally got Imodium, and I actually got to go home later that day. And the doctor only came in to see me one time. He didn't look at me at all. He walked right up to the computer, was typing. I'm like asking him questions like, "Hey, bro, why am I so sick? How long am I going to be here? Like, what's going on?" And he was just not trying to converse with me. And he told me that they could give me something to speed it up or like help get me through it. I don't know. And he said, "But we're not going to do that." And that he came and see me that one morning, and that was it. I actually filed a grievance on that doctor after I left there.
How'd that go?
I never heard anything back after that.
I filed a grievance and never heard anything back either when I was getting my gallbladder out because I did so much damage to it in my years of addiction. Because, like, as you know, when you're withdrawn, you start throwing up bile.
Mhm.
And I had thrown out so much bile that my gallbladder started shutting down. And I didn't learn that my gallbladder was shut down until 2 years sober. Like 2 years clean from pills. I wasn't sober. Or I was sober when this happened, but like I had already had my relapse and came back to sobriety.
Sure.
But I was 2 years away from opiates, and I had to get my gallbladder removed, and it was just a little later than 2 years. And I said to him, "Listen, you can't give me opiates." I was like, "Because I'm an addict and I don't want to withdraw again." And they were like, "Well, when was the last time you used?" And I was like, April 24th, 2018. This was like June of 2020 or July. No, it was June of 2020. And he was like, "Don't worry. Like, we're not going to give you anything." I was like, "Okay." And they put me under anesthesia. And then I woke up immediately in withdrawals. Like, I said to the nurse, like, I feel really sick. And she was like, "It's probably just from the anesthesia." And then the doctor's like, "Well, we did have to also give him fentanyl when he was under because he looked uncomfortable." I'm like, "You gave me fentanyl?" My body immediately went into withdrawals and I was throwing up for the next 18 hours.
Mm.
Like, I called my grandma who had her gallbladder removed, and I'm like, "Did you like have any like effects where you were throwing up?" She was like, "No, not at all. I was cleaning the house that night." And I was like, I can't do shit. I can't, you know what I mean? Like, my body was so and I had incisions in my stomach. I had to like hold a pillow against me while I was throwing up just so I wouldn't burst any of the stitches.
Ugh.
That was and that kind of got me like, okay, well, I definitely can't go out. Like, I'll go into withdrawals right away. I
Ugh.
can't relapse, and not even like for one night because my body's gonna do this.
Oh.
Um, I have been prescribed oxycodone in sobriety though, and my wife held on to the script. It gave me one as needed for pain. We wound up flushing. I got like 12 of them, and we wound up flushing like four of them. Like, we did they come with a pack of how to properly dispose of the medication if you have any left over.
I know what you're talking about, like a Dexterra bag.
Yeah, yeah,
And it
it
has
comes
the
with,
stuff, you get it wet or whatever, and
as opposed to just like flushing them down the toilet. They probably don't want that shit going. But they were like the oxycodone 5 milligram. You know what I mean? Sound like I was getting the 30 milligrams
sure.
that I used to abuse. And that's when like it hit me like, oh, okay, I can be a regular person. I just need some supervision.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with being supervised. It doesn't bother me to have my Ativan locked up. I prefer it that way because on my own, if I don't even remember taking the Ativan. You know what I mean? Like I blacked out and
Sure.
don't even remember why I did that. Like there was nothing like no. I have no idea why I did it. I might have taken two or three, and then you all of a sudden you know how it is. It was Xanax.
Yeah, you think somebody stole them and you already took them.
I knew they weren't stolen. I knew that I was the thief. It's like that Kermit the Frog when you're looking back at yourself. You know, like the evil Kermit and the other.
Yeah.
Like you were the problem.
Yeah.
It was definitely my fault. It is what it is, and it's a learning experience. You know, resetting my clock now, and as long as I stay clean and sober, by the time I'm 50, I'll just laugh at what I did when I was 37. You know, like, oh, that was stupid of you, dumb fuck.
Yeah.
But there's nothing I can do about it. The only thing I can do about it is just be honest about it, because then you're harboring a secret, and that's never safe to do. Is that what made you want to come back in?
Mm, yeah. And yeah, because I mean, I thought I did pretty well at hiding stuff. I was still pretty functionable, and I've already worked my 12 steps and stuff. And so relapse, and I just felt really trashy like the whole time.
Well, you call soda pop, so you are a little bit trashy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
watched this podcast called "Are You Garbage?" and they have comedians on, and they talk. They like, do you leave butter on the stove or do you put it in the fridge? And they ask all these like questions to see if you're garbage or not. And you saying a pop can.
Somebody corrected me at work a couple weeks ago. I said pop, and they were like, soda. I was like, pop?
Is
I
that
don't
from like your does your family call pop, or is that like a thing in Ohio?
I think it's an Ohio thing. A lot of people call it pop. There are the few weirdos that call it soda, I guess, but
They're
at
the
least
ones
we
that
don't call everything Coke. Isn't there somewhere where they call every pop a Coke?
I don't know about that place. It's definitely not Jersey.
I think
I
it's
think
not.
North Jersey calls them pops also. But South Jersey, where I'm from, calls it soda. Almost like how like in South Jersey we call it a hoagie, and in North Jersey they call it a hero.
What are you talking about? A sub?
You call it a sub. You call it a sub, we call it a hoagie, they call it a hero. They're all the same thing.
Okay.
When I lived in Massachusetts, I learned that people had different phrases for everything. Like, what do you call it if you're smoking in a car with the windows up?
A hot box.
A hot box. That's what they call it. Or no, they call it fish bowling.
Fish bowling, okay.
I call it baking out. Or like if you're smoking a joint or a blunt, but the one side is burning, what do you call that?
It's running.
It's running. In Massachusetts, they said it's boating, or no, it's canoeing, and in Jersey, we say it's boating.
Okay.
See, everyone has different slang.
That's so strange.
I know, but I learned that like I was like, we're fish bowling. What the hell? Like, hey, you want to go fish bowl in my car? I'm like, why do you have a fish bowl in your car? I, I was so
No.
confused.
I wouldn't know what that was either. I probably would have said that too. Why are you talking to me about a fishbowl in your car,
Yeah,
dude?
no, I believe you. You have a fish, bro. I don't give a shit. Uh,
Oh,
it's always nice to have you on, Ash. Thank you for
absolutely.
sitting down and talking more about the relapse, and congrats on 90 days. Um, and I'll hopefully talk to you when we both have more time to talk about.
Absolutely.
I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Yeah.